Sharing a small apartment with 4 cats forces you to be highly practical. I previously managed this in my tiny studio in Korea, and the standards tips usually tells you to utilize vertical space, and that is necessary. But you still have to figure out how cats and humans actually live in that space. You also need to manage their energy and behavior so you can actually trust them not to mess things up. I actually thought my studio was almost completely cat-proofed, and then I got Latte. Latte is a Bengal, and they are not exactly known for sitting still and following directions. I came home one day to a completely raided snack cupboard. Latte had figured out how to open it, and by the time I got home, the bag was ripped apart and all of them were sitting next to it, looking incredibly full. Latte was 7 months old at that time. Now he's 8 years old, and still, if you leave anything accessible, he will accept that challenge. Everything that I have learned comes directly from moments like that. Back to the cupboard incident. After Latte opened the cabinet for the first time, I tried child locks. He figured those out almost immediately. Of course, in a studio, you don't have a separate walk-in pantry. All of your storage is right there in the main living area, so you naturally gravitate toward keeping your cat supplies in the most convenient lower cabinets. But you have to work deliberately against that habit. The first rule is to design the entire apartment for the most determined cat. There's always one that is going to relentlessly test your boundaries. If a container has a flimsy lid, Latte will try to open it. If a cabinet has a weak latch, he will get inside. You must remove the opportunity completely. Put cat food, treats, anything interesting into heavy airtight containers before they even go into a cupboard. And use the most difficult, inaccessible storage spaces. Usually that's in the higher spots where they can't get leverage from the ground. Rule 2 is environment beats discipline. Chasing cats away from areas you want to keep clean or off of is exhausting. And continually saying no creates stress for everyone. A cat walking on your kitchen table or your desk is usually trying to solve a spatial problem. They use these surfaces to observe what you're doing or avoid walking past another cat. Therefore, you just have to change the layout so the cat makes the choice you want automatically. A helpful guideline is to keep cats off of the floor by creating a continuous walking route that completely bypasses your workspace. Place stable furniture close enough together so cats can cross the room without touching the ground or your clean surfaces. And a good way to do that is just to choose the highest point in the room you want them to reach and arrange your furniture or cat gear to create a direct path up to that spot. Once those paths were connected, the surface jumping frequency lowered a lot as they just simply had better routes. Rule 3. Create one central rest zone. Cats will always seek out the warmest spot in the room, and I use that to group all 4 of my cats into one easy to clean area. And the biggest single change I made was adding a heated mat. Before I bought it, all 4 cats slept on the sofa. I had to lint roll the entire sofa every morning, which is a slow process sometimes with Rosie's hair. I placed a heated mat in one specific spot and they all migrated to it. Every morning, most of the time, they are on that mat. I lint roll the mat in 2 minutes and the job is mostly done. It is now so ingrained that even when it is off, the cats still prefer this spot to rest. This habit also keeps them out of your clothes. In my previous studio, they would constantly find their way into the closet or wardrobe and sleep on my clean, folded clothes. Ash in particular found this very comfortable and saw no issue with it whatsoever. It also has the added benefit of being very easy to monitor them when you are gone. When you leave the apartment, you know exactly where they'll be resting. Next, in a small apartment with 4 cats, every piece of furniture gets used constantly. There is no rotation. All 4 cats use the same items every day. I went through a lot of towers and scratchers in the early years. I would buy something new and the cats would like it at first and they would use it heavily. And then it would start to wobble slightly. And all of a sudden, the cats would lose trust in it and migrate back to scratching my sofa instead. Cats need to trust that a surface or a post will hold them when they jump or scratch. The moment something wobbles, they may get more wary of it and go back to whatever in your apartment is more reliably solid. Now I check everything weekly. I push on the towers, I test the window perches, and if suction cups have air bubbles forming, I can easily push it and resecure it or clean off the surfaces and stick them back on. The last rule is to control their sleep cycle. One of the main complaints from cat butlers is sleep and energy alignment. Yes, of course you can play with your cats, but that does not solve what happens when you are at work all day. The science of feline behavior shows that frequent meals actually create frequent activity spikes. Their bodies physically prepare for a meal by increasing their energy and movement. Now you can use this predictable response to dictate exactly when they wind down. I feed my cats 3 small meals during the day at 8 a.m., 12 and 4 p.m. These frequent meals give them small, predictable energy spikes while I'm at work or busy. When I get home, there is a long gap with no food. This builds up their anticipation, and right before everyone goes to sleep, I do a short, focused play session. This structured play dumps their remaining energy. And then almost immediately after the play session, I give them their largest meal of the day, and that's usually around 11 p.m. And this completes their natural biological sequence of hunt, catch, eat, and they will groom themselves and sleep. And critically, they sleep at the exact same time that you need to sleep. Now, with Latte, when he was a kitten, this actually only took a week of consistency before it stuck. He still had opinions about mornings, but the nights became very manageable. Living with multiple cats in a small apartment requires you to control their physical space and their daily routine. If you can remove their chances to cause trouble and put them on a predictable energy cycle, it's really quite manageable. So if you want to know exactly what gear I trust after all of that, including the things I would probably never buy again, I put together a full tier list. Here's the best and worst cat gear for small apartments, completely based on years of Latte trying to dismantle everything. And that video is up on screen now.